Hello, this is Killer Streak 1994, and this is the Master Trapper Guide. I specialize in Trapper. I'm currently in the top 30 on the leaderboard for some of the best trappers in the world. I have been playing him 3 years straight and know all the ins and outs of this killer. I will be showing you how to go from beginner to master. Let's begin. The Trapper is easy enough to understand. He moves at 4.6 meters per second or 115%. He has a normal terror radius of 32 meters. He is on the taller side, and this can be exaggerated with certain cosmetics. When he sets a trap, he will gain a 7.5% speed boost for 5 seconds. This only comes into effect when you yourself place/reset a trap. This does not apply if you step into your own trap. It takes 2.5 seconds to set a trap and 1 second to pick it up. Base kit, he can hold 2 traps at a time and will make a subtle noise when he cannot pick up anymore. You will have a small advantage if you use Trapper's default Mori. It takes about 10 seconds. If you use Naughty Bear's Mori, it takes about 12 seconds. Trapper's special ability is the Bear Trap. He starts with 2 in his inventory, with 8 others spawning throughout the map, for a total of 10. Traps cannot be placed closer than 1.5 meters together, nor can they be placed too closely to generators or hooks. If a survivor steps in a trap, they can be out in roughly 2 to 10 seconds, or 1.5 seconds if a teammate helps them. Survivors can disarm a trap in 3.5 seconds. You can pick up a survivor directly from a trap or hit them into the dying state. This is very situational and should not be done carelessly. If you think a survivor is nearby to attempt a flashlight save or a pallet stun, put the survivor into the dying state and try to get the other teammates away. Trapper can set a trap on one side of the pallet and pick up the survivor, causing a rescue to be harder. Almost every tech Trapper can do is counterable, so do not count on an easy game. A healthy survivor will become injured when they step into a trap. If an injured survivor steps into the trap, they will not receive a penalty. A survivor can be almost fully healed, step into a trap, and continue healing after they are released. Trapper himself can be caught in his own traps. You do get a small grace period after you set a trap, but if you move too far away from it and come back, you will be caught, giving you a stun animation and also having to reset your trap automatically. Trapper is an area control killer. Picking one side of the map to stay on is the most effective way to play Trapper. When you first spawn in, take a look at your surroundings. If you see there are generators closer together on one side of the map, and a bunch of your traps spawn near there, it is a good idea to set up on that side. When you first pick up this killer, you will get tons of value from even the simplest of traps. This gets harder as you face better survivors. We'll start with the traps that deny certain pathways or loops. These are very predictable, but also serve a purpose. Even if nobody steps into them, they will likely get you a free hit. Next, we have traps you put on the outside of loops or edges of tiles. These are less predictable, but they are also a gamble. If a survivor chooses to drop a pallet or vault a window and continue forward, they do nothing. A good survivor will try to loop around the tile for as long as possible to gain maximum time, but if they can see the trap or know about it, they will simply head to the next safe tile.
Oh, he got a trap right here. Smart man, smart man.
Pre-trapping a hook can easily win you the game. Take advantage of this, especially if you are using certain add-ons.
Trap there?
Even trapping both sides of a generator can give you value, effectively turning a 3-man generator into only a 1-man generator. It is possible to work on a generator like this if you're trying to avoid bloody coil, but as soon as you try to run away, you will get caught. Right around the corner can catch a survivor off guard, especially in chase. You can definitely hide traps inside of dead bodies, including if you Mori them, and instead of putting the trap right at the doorway, put it a little bit inside and hopefully they'll make a mistake. Lastly, we have my favorite types of traps, which are the quote-unquote random traps. Survivors have the habit of running in straight lines. They will actively avoid grass, but otherwise if that grass is in the open, they think they are safe. If there is a generator and a window nearby, you can place a trap in between the two, hiding the trap in some grass. The survivor will typically not expect this. Moving this trap after you get value is a good idea. They will be on the lookout from now on. Placing a trap slightly in front of a pallet is the most optimal way to guarantee value, as they cannot drop and vault across it. Trapping too closely near a vault will not trap a survivor vaulting from the opposite side, so make sure to give it some space. As you become more advanced, some of these techs will need to be implemented to trick good survivors. There are traps that clip into certain materials. These traps get updated all the time, and I would not rely on them to become a competent trapper main, but they are fun while they last. Add-ons. Unfortunately, Trapper is very add-on reliant, so even though he has a bunch of fun and interesting add-ons, when you're playing him at a higher level, you're not able to use them reliably. Bear Oil. This is a brown add-on, and it's quite good. It's pretty situational when a survivor is purely listening for your traps to know where they are, but it can catch them off guard, and it's nice to have on. It is completely silent with the Naughty Bear cosmetic. You do make a slight noise with all other cosmetics. Makeshift Wrap. This grants you the ability to walk through your own traps without getting caught. It disarms them as you walk through. Most trappers don't use this add-on, so survivors get caught off guard when it comes into play. Padded Jaws. This is a meme add-on. When a survivor walks into a trap, they do not get injured. Definitely better options to use, but it will give you some extra blood points. Trapper Gloves. This will increase the setting speed of your bear traps by 30%. It's quite noticeable and feels really nice, especially for a brown add-on. 4-Coil Spring Kit. This will increase the time to disarm a bear trap by 33%. It's not particularly strong, however, when you start messing with disarming times, it can cause a survivor to make a mistake. Not a bad add-on. Coffee Grounds. You gain an additional 5% haste for 5 seconds after setting a bear trap. This used to be pretty negligible, but with the base kit 7.5% speed buff, it can catch a survivor off guard sometimes. Lengthened Jaws. When a survivor escapes a bear trap, they are inflicted with Deep Wound. This will buy you a little bit of time, but won't really make a difference most games. I hope to see this base kit in the future. Serrated Jaws. This is like a mini Sloppy Butcher. The problem with this add-on is if the trapper is right next to you when you go down, you won't see this come into effect very much. It can make tracking a survivor a little bit easier, but it's not worth bringing. Wax Brick. This increases the time required to rescue a survivor or escape from a bear trap by 33%. This is pretty nice, however, because traps are RNG related, you will never know if you get value from this, but it feels nice to have on. Fastening Tools. This is one of his better add-ons. It increases the bear trap setting speed by 50%, and it increases the time to rescue a survivor or escape from a bear trap by 25%. This paired with Coffee Grounds will give you a lot of free hits. You can never go wrong with this add-on. Rusted Jaws. This is a terrible add-on. It increases the time to heal a survivor by 25% for 70 seconds. So if you down a survivor that has stepped into your trap and took 10 seconds to hook them, and then they got rescued before they hit second hook, the status is pretty much gone within a few seconds. Not worth bringing in my opinion. Secondary Coil. This actually makes traps quite annoying. It makes disarming a trap take 50% longer, and if you use this with 4-Coil Spring Kit, you'll see a lot of value. A very good add-on. Tar Bottle. The problem with this add-on is it makes traps harder to see on maps that are already pretty good for Trapper, and can make traps easier to see on maps that are not so good for Trapper. There's no good reason to use this unless you're bringing yourself to a specific map. Green Trapper Bag. This is a very good add-on. I wish I could run this every single game. You get to carry 3 traps instead of 2. The problem with this add-on is you get so used to carrying 2 traps that you might not take full advantage of being able to carry 3. Honing Stone. This add-on can either win you the game or have 0 effect if survivors stick together. When a survivor walks into a trap, they have the option of releasing themselves, where they will go into the dying state, or they are stuck there indefinitely until somebody comes to help them out. If you just got off a hook and walked into a trap, you should try to attempt to escape. If you get lucky, your borrowed time will still be active, and instead of going down, you'll actually be free to go. This will also work with off the record. even if survivors stick together, the info you get from this add-on can be game-changing. Survivors will be even more careful than usual once they see this add-on is in effect. Regardless, it is my favorite add-on and I highly recommend it. Oily Coil. This is a very unique and fun add-on. When you rearm a trap that a survivor has disarmed, you'll be able to see the aura of that survivor for 5 seconds. This is good for finding the person harassing your traps, and paired with Bloody Coil, that survivor is now vulnerable. It can be game-changing if used at the right time. Tension Spring. Again, a very fun add-on. Whenever a survivor escapes or rescued from a trap, it will reset itself in 2 seconds. If you are on top of them, they'll make a mistake very frequently. It will not reset itself if you grab or hit them off of a trap. Trapper Sack. If you are a great Trapper player,
hello friends,
this can make a match feel like a speed run. If you're not advanced, you'll feel like behavior actively hates you and doesn't want you to win. If you misplace a trap, there's no fixing it. The survivor might be able to walk through it while you can't. You're almost required to bring other add-ons to make this one work. And if you want to move a trap where it'll be more useful, let's say after you break a pallet, then you're out of luck. There are just way too many negatives for me to recommend this add-on. However, if you have a plan, it can be extremely strong. Bloody Coil. Whenever a survivor disarms a trap, they become injured. Normal survivors hate this, but a good team won't break a sweat. It is not always necessary to fully disarm a trap, so you can avoid an injury. You can also 99 yourself and disarm all the traps for free, and heal yourself quickly before the trapper can bring you down. The problem for Trapper is the survivor that usually stays injured is almost always very good in chase. However, if you pair this with our last add-on, Iridescent Stone, makes a random trap rearm itself every 30 seconds. This and Bloody Coil are two of his strongest add-ons to run together. At best, one survivor will need to be harassing the traps the whole game, making it seem like a 3v1 to an extent. For some reason, there are trap locations that absolutely will not reset no matter how long you wait. If you are chasing a survivor around a loop and cannot catch up, if that's the only trap that is disarmed, you know within 30 seconds that it will rearm itself and you can end the chase quickly. Pretty inefficient, but if you can use this strategy when you need it, then it's good to have. Just as many times as it'll catch a survivor off guard, it can also catch you off guard, so be careful. Those are his add-ons. Tips for countering Trapper. You will lose collision with Trapper if he tries to set a trap while you are running out of a doorway. Because this game is buggy, this doesn't always work, but the vast majority of the time, you will be able to pass. This is also true if you wiggle off of his shoulders, or if you just got off of hook. Sticking in pairs of 2 is incredibly strong against Trapper. Any pressure he has from a trap can almost have 0 effect if you stick together. A smart Trapper will not chase you into an area that is not pre-trapped. They might chase you further than expected, but this is only so that you cannot see them anymore. They will try to put a trap in a path you have just taken, so be watchful and be unpredictable. Harassing the Trapper can win you the game. Even if you go down quickly, the Trapper might have only had enough time to set up a few traps. While disarming, you can let survivors through while trapping the killer inside. This is very strong. You can also do this if a survivor is trapped in a locker. This makes the Trapper think that somebody is trapped, but they are not. This also counters Bloody Coil. Trapper is probably the scariest killer when it comes to basement. Avoid it at all cost. If you are using Wicked or even Deliverance, don't make it too obvious. A good Trapper will smell it and hook you somewhere else. If you are playing solo queue and are about to go down regardless if you step into a trap or not, go ahead and step into the trap. This does 2 things. It tells your teammates that there is a trap in this area, and the Trapper will have to either rearm it or move it somewhere else. This may waste a few precious seconds that can be game changing. Check for common trap spots before you start working on a generator. One down survivor and a pre-trapped hook is all Trapper needs. Don't let yourself be the reason your team fails. For a well-organized Trapper, having 1 generator left means almost nothing. It doesn't mean you are about to win. Breaking a good 3 gen early can really make a Trapper start to panic. Having yourself a 99 can entice a trapper to chase you. Have a plan ready. Run to a safe pallet or break line of sight and heal right before he hits you. Always try to take the trapper as far away from generators as possible. If hatch is closed, all you can do is run up to the trapper and beg for the exit gate. This is one killer that you will almost certainly never get out if both gates are trapped. Tips and tricks. Most killers see hooks as just another hook state. Trapper can weaponize a hook. This is where trapper will usually snowball. A few well-placed traps and the game will be over before you know it. Let's take a look.
Right there. Now I can stay here. And that's game.
You can trap exit gates, making leaving much harder. You can also trap most totems. This can be useful for info even if you can't defend that totem. You can body block with a trap in certain areas. Mostly this is used for basement. While proxy camping, this can be very strong. Use headphones. Seriously, trapper needs to take advantage of every single thing in the game. Slight breathing might mean that you find the last survivor. It can be game changing. I can hear her to my left. I'm gonna go this way. Proxy camping is very strong with trapper. You can have certain areas blocked off, making any rescuer get a free injury, or you can force them into a direction where a trap is already set. Survivors will lose collision to traps when they first get off a hook, and because trapper can't hold more than 2 traps, don't let them get a free escape. Don't make this simple mistake. When a survivor is on their second hook, you have 5 seconds until the camera is auto-adjusted and they cannot look at you for 2 seconds. Try to take advantage of this and set a trap during that time. I highly recommend running Grim Embrace to get a good understanding of how far away you need to be for the anti-camp not to work. This will also counter Kindred. With Trapper, the game starts before everybody is even in the lobby, quite literally. If you see that everybody is loading in individually, you're going to have a great game. There will be no callouts for your traps. This should not be used if you want to get better at Trapper, but while you are just learning, it is perfectly fine. Avoid maps at all costs. Leave the lobby if you have to. Certain add-ons can reveal your traps and even reveal it to your whole team. It's not fun to play against this. Wearing default cosmetics can give you an edge. A lot of survivors love to bully Trapper. Setting up traps in the first 2 minutes will not let the survivors gauge how good of a trapper you are. By the time they find out, it's too late. Don't bring offerings for basement. Once survivors see that you are the trapper, they will avoid that area like the plague, and you are certain to not get value from it. Letting a survivor bleed out for a little bit while you set up some traps can be a good idea, if their line of sight is broken. If a survivor tries to force decisive strike or even power struggle, sometimes you can lock that survivor inside of a room, making the perks completely useless. Remember that survivors can walk through the traps if they're too close to them when they wiggle off. This works with lockers too, especially when you're using Honing Stone. Always try to have at least one trap available. You can use this to avoid pallet stuns or even fake putting down a trap and catch a survivor off guard while they run away from the loop. A lot of survivors will throw a game trying to pull off a CJ tech. You can fake placing a trap to make it look like you are going to pick up the down survivor. As soon as they vault, you can get a free hit or even a grab. Even fully putting down a trap and turning the opposite direction can make a CJ tech impossible. You can vault at an angle to use a window that a survivor is not able to. Use this to catch a survivor off guard when it makes sense to do so. A really good survivor will look back occasionally while you are in chase. If they're about to take a vault that is not trapped, you can nod your head up and down, giving the impression that they are about to get trapped. They will take a different path. This can give you a free hit. This only works on really good survivors. Swinging early can make a survivor drop a pallet in a panic, causing them to get trapped. Don't avoid bad maps. They are in the game and are probably not going anywhere. Learn to play them the best way you can. I have a bare bones series where I play on every map with no perks or add-ons. If you need help on a specific map, check out that playlist. Trapping around a loop can be really effective. A good survivor will see this trap or expect it, but if you are using makeshift wrap, you can get a free hit. This is probably only going to work once. The survivor will pre-drop and continue running after they see this technique. Don't hit a survivor that is trapped and has endurance near a pallet. They will have enough time to stand up and throw the pallet in your face. Try to wait out borrowed time or attempt to pick up if you think it is safe. If you are using Bloody Coil or Eerie Stone, don't break Shack pallet, especially if there's a generator inside or basement. It will be impossible to get into except from one doorway. This is very strong. Use your Mori to strategically hide a trap within a dead survivor. This can be strong in a lot of locations, and even works on dead bodies that are not survivors. Survivors will come to pick up the item, or they might just be paying their respects. Trapping drop-down locations is nearly impossible. There are only 3 unavoidable drop-down trap locations that I know of. Use them to your advantage. Attempt to chase a survivor in the direction where a trap you need is. This won't buy you a lot of time, but anytime a survivor is not on a generator is a good thing. Trapping close to walls will often catch survivors off guard. This is really strong on certain hills, especially if there's a generator or a hook there. Learning map layout is extremely essential. You cannot teleport through walls or travel underground. Take advantage of absolutely everything. Let's take a look. My last tip is not exactly clear, but attempt to see the game where there's only 1 or 2 generators left. Imagine where survivors might be running to and from depending on certain situations. This type of pre-planning is what will separate you from the rest. Sometimes I'll even imagine myself as a survivor mid-game and attempt to run to the safest location. This will come more naturally as you get experienced.
Gracious. Oh Lord, help us.
Perks and builds. So this build right here is one of his most consistent builds. You'll get value from these every single game, and it is really nice on Trapper. It complements all his strengths and all of his weaknesses. So we'll start off with Surge. This is a great perk. It'll give any generator within a 32 meter radius an explosion instantly, 8% off, just like that. This is very good. This is, maybe it hit a generator that was 99 and they left it so they did not 3-gen themselves. Okay, maybe it just hit 2 generators. Maybe you heard somebody scream and now you know where they are. It's a good info perk, it's a good gen regression perk. It is slightly problematic nowadays since you can only hit a generator 8 times. Okay, but even if you hit a generator 8 times, like, you're taking off tons of progress, okay? Hopefully by that time you have gotten a few hooks and it won't ruin the game for you. Ironbreaker. Holding W against Trapper is unbelievably strong. It is very annoying to deal with when somebody sprint burst away from you, okay? This helps us a lot. This denies information. This causes them to be exhausted for 5 seconds after they are done touching a generator. They have to waste time to actively not have this happen to them. This is a beautiful perk. I love running this perk. Always huge value every single time. Brutal Strength. This perk I don't find myself using too much, but it is something good to throw on. It's good for creating dead zones. You know, if you can break most of the pallets where you're staying at, then you can worry about trapping volts, you know? This is very helpful for that. It's just helpful. Tinker. This can get you a nice little down for a survivor that is not paying attention. However, It's mostly just for info. Let's say you are working 3 generators. This will tell you, hey, your whole plan's about to not be happening anymore. This will let you interrupt it. If there's a single person running on it, working on a generator, you have about 9 seconds after your undetectable status goes away to get there and interrupt that generator. Of course, this is affected by toolboxes and multiple people on the generator, but you know, you do have time to go interrupt it. Very nice. This is a good perk, and these are good add-ons. So this is just solid. Next, we will go to something more fun. This is an in-game build. You can always switch out something, maybe Lightborn, you know, something like that. But this is very fun. As long as you can make sure your obsession is dead by the end game, you're looking good. Okay, it takes, I believe it is 20 seconds base kit for the door to open, with an extra 24 seconds. Oh man, it takes forever to open the door. It's very painful to watch happen, and it's just it's fun. No wed, you know, it'll probably get cleansed fairly soon. However, if you can get that one down, you can get that one hook, you could be good because you have Terminus, right? Terminus is great. It's kind of an underrated perk. I don't see people using too much, but basically until the gates are open, you cannot heal yourself. This is very, very, very strong. It denies adrenaline if somebody is injured. It just makes sure like nobody can come in for the rescue, and everybody's trying to wait out. Our next perk, No Way Out. If you can manage to hook everybody before the end game reaches it, then they're stuck in there for a whole extra minute. Like, this is very, very strong, especially because Trapper can trap things like totems and exit gates. This is a fun build. You basically play perkless your whole game, which I recommend for people trying to learn Trapper. And then once you get to the end game, if things went bad, then it'll give you a chance to, at the very least, get 1 kill. I mean, if you're not getting 1 kill with this build, just keep practicing. But this is a very solid end-game build. Next, we have something I personally, when I do play with perks, I like to run this. It's nothing like meta, but it's very fun. Again, we have Mindbreaker. Always great value from this. Third Seal. Wow. It's a hex. It can be cleansed. However, you can trap it with Bloody Coil. And as soon as somebody deactivates a trap, they become injured. And this activates on them. They can't see it anymore. Alright? So sure, they can see the hex that's in front of them, but you can interrupt that. This won't work every game, but you can interrupt it. After everybody is hooked, they are all oblivious. They don't know what is happening. And if they are injured, which they have been injured before, they can't see the aura of their totems either. This really hurts. It causes big slowdown. People do not like playing with hex plating. They want it cleansed, and they'll go for it. However, they might not know is that these two perks synergize super well if survivors are being effective, which most of the time they are. They will not see that the generator is yellow. Alright? You want to be careful with generator you kick. But if you kick one with good progress and then trap around it, let's say it's in shack or something where you can prevent them from touching it again, and then they're working on another generator, right? And they're oblivious, and then they've cleansed this, alright? But now, they can't see this because of either this perk or this perk, and then you come over to them undetectable when they think they should be able to hear you. It's just, wow. Tons of value if there are solo queues. However, against a Swift, this almost does nothing. However, it's still fun, and I enjoy running it. Every trapper main I know recommends corrupt intervention. I have never used it. I've never felt the need to use it. I understand it can buy you a lot of time, but I would much rather lose 2 generators than half the survivors see exactly where I'm putting down traps. And those are the perks I recommend. Game strategy. Like we mentioned earlier, when you spawn in, you want to see which side of the map you want to set up at. Here, for example, we will go ahead and pretend that this bottom mid section right here is where we want to set up at. So we have a generator right here, and right here. Possibly there's one right here, but we're not going to worry about it too much. So we have a simple trap layout. There's usually some type of structure over here. This could be basement, but there's a window right here and there's a single door entry right here most of the time. That being said, if you do happen to get someone down here, it is worth trying to get them in here. This is stronger than most shack basement builds actually. We have 9 traps set out here, and you always want to keep 1 on your inventory if you can spare it. That way you can lock down shack or something similar if needed, or just to simply have a mind game. So over here, we're going to put a trap right on the corner if there happens to be grass right here. Okay, that way when they volt this, they're going to try to run out of this whole section this way, right? They might run into this trap, they might not. However, they may run into this trap. There's a bunch of mays in here. You need to read your survivors and see what type of players they are. But in general, it is a good idea to trap these windows. And like I said, we're going to bring brutal strength. So these areas right here become massive dead zones. All right, they won't have anything to work with. Next, once you do get a survivor, try hooking them furthest back as you can. If possible, agitation can make this easier. I would suggest not using perks that change things that are base kit at first. That way you can get a feeling of how far you can take a survivor, without relying on a perk. Yeah, if you have something pre-trapped over here, this can also be really good as long as you do it before anyone sees you. Trapping stuff like this bus is very strong, so go ahead and put a trap around that window. There's usually a loop right here with a pallet. Trap around the pallet or the loop and chase them around it until they get caught. And try to deal with these. These are so annoying to deal with. Survivors can jump in here, jump in here, jump in here, jump in here, jump in. It is extremely annoying to deal with. Shut that down as quick as you can. Again, with auto resetting traps and possibly bloody coil, this can make this very risky to keep this a clean, untrapped area for survivors. So that's why we have almost nearly half our traps right here at this choke point. Otherwise, with perks like Surge, if you knock someone down here, which is likely, you're gonna hit possibly 2, if not all 3 of these generators, depending on where they're spawning at. This is a general strategy for Trapper. A lot of in-game stuff is situational. But like I said, just keep it simple and you will do great with him at first. And as you become more advanced, you will need to change your tactics. But that's it for a general gameplay for playing Trapper. Also, Quiet Kills does a more in-depth strategy guide with this, and he did a great job, so I will have that linked in the description. If this type of playstyle doesn't suit you, you can always check out some other streamers. I'm happy to say that 2 of the best trappers in the world stream on a regular basis, and they typically don't go for a 3 generator playstyle. So if you're more of a visual learner, I'll leave those links in the description, and yeah, they are great. Also, Quiet Kills has recently started streaming. He doesn't only play Trapper, but he's always a good time. So yeah, make sure to check out those streamers and show your support.
Big movements, boy. Did she just take a shit on me? What this? What are you talking about? What? 3, 2, 1. Step on it right now, brother. Let's fucking go!